Planning to own a mobile detailing business? You might want to think twice. Not because you shouldn't do it. It's because there's a real gap between what this looks like from the outside and what it actually costs. And that gap is exactly what this video is for. The pitch is almost impossible to say no to. No shop, no rent, no storefront, just a kit in the back of your car and a driveway full of dirty vehicles waiting for you. One 22-year-old named Alan Tursunbayev started this exact business with $500. He now makes roughly $75,000 a month. But the average detailing business in America nets its owner about $37,620 a year. Same industry, same basic equipment. A gap that size between the average and the outlier. So what's actually different about the people clearing six figures and the people making beer money out of their trunk? That's what we're figuring out today. The first cost, genuinely one of the cheapest ways onto this channel, a real starter setup runs a few $1,000s, but the setup that lets you compete costs quite a bit more. At the absolute floor, a basic detailing kit and your own personal vehicle can get you running for $1,000 to $2,500. That's how Alan started. $500, a handful of supplies, and cars parked outside high schools and college dorms. But a kit alone has a real limitation. It depends entirely on the client having an outdoor spigot and a working outlet. No water access, no job. That's a bigger problem than it sounds like. Apartment complexes, office parks, and fleet accounts, some of the most valuable client types in this business, often don't have water access you're allowed to use. A portable water tank and a generator-powered pressure washer fixes that. It adds $800 to $1,500 to your setup. It also opens up an entire category of higher-value clients that a trunk kit simply can't reach. Add proper insurance, and this isn't optional. General liability runs $40 to $70 a month. Garage keeper's liability, which specifically covers the customer's vehicle while it's in your care, adds another $100 to $300 a month. Skip that second one, and a single accident on someone else's car can end the business in an afternoon. Put together, a real, fully equipped mobile operation lands somewhere between $5,000 and $15,000. Compare that to a fixed shop, which runs $50,000 to $300,000 or more once you count the lease, the build-out, and the equipment. Mobile is a fraction of the cost of the alternative, and that part of the pitch is completely true. The hidden trap, the one buried in that average income number, most operators are competing on the one skill that's the easiest to learn and ignoring the one that determines income. Here's the number worth sitting with. $37,620. That's the average annual profit across the industry, according to federal small business data, on an average company revenue of roughly $220,000. That's a 17.1% net margin. Respectable, but nowhere near the six-figure dream that gets sold online. Part of the reason, detailing is a discretionary purchase, not a necessity. When household budgets get tight, a $200 detail is one of the first things people cut, and operators in tighter markets feel that directly. Retail bankruptcies and pullbacks in consumer spending on non-essentials tend to show up in detailing booking calendars a few months later, not immediately, which makes the slowdown easy to misread as a marketing problem instead of an economic one. Part of the reason is also saturation. The technical skill of detailing a car is genuinely easy to learn. Free tutorials, weekend courses, and a few practice runs on your own car will get most people to a professional standard. Which means the technical skill was never the actual bottleneck. Everyone can learn to make a car shine. Far fewer people can consistently find, price, and retain the customers willing to pay for it. One detailer who's run a shop for years put it bluntly in an industry post. You can be the best detailer on the planet, and if you can't attract and keep clients, you don't have a business. You have an expensive hobby. The real engine, the one separating the $37,000 average from Alan's $75,000 month, isn't the wash. It's the coding, the correction, and the accounts nobody's fighting over. So, where does the real income come from? Not from washes. A basic wash and interior clean charges somewhere between $50 and $225, and the margin on that alone rarely changes anyone's life. In higher cost cities, a skilled solo operator can push toward $100 to $150 an hour on that kind of work. In most markets, $60 to $90 an hour is more realistic. Ceramic coating is a different story entirely. A coating job charges $500 to $3,000, and the product itself, the actual coating material, costs the operator somewhere between $100 and $300. That's not a typo. It's routinely described inside the industry as the single highest margin upsell in detailing, and it's why operators push hard to build that skill into their offering within the first year. Paint correction runs a similar playbook. $300 to $2,500 a job, mostly labor and skill rather than product cost. Smaller add-ons stack on top of all of it. Headlight restoration, engine bay detailing, pet hair removal, odor treatment. Each one takes 30 to 90 minutes and turns a single visit into 2 or 3 line items instead of one. Then there's the recurring piece almost nobody mentions. Fleet accounts. Pitch a local business with company vehicles, real estate agents, contractors, delivery services, and a single 20-car fleet paying $80 per vehicle a month is $1,600 in recurring monthly revenue from one relationship. One account. Signed once. Paying every month without you pitching a single new customer. Route efficiency compounds all of this. Operators who batch clients by neighborhood instead of driving across town between every job cut their drive time dramatically, which turns a 4-job day into a genuine 5 or 6-job day using the exact same hours behind the wheel. And once volume is real, the scaling move is simple. Hire someone at $20 to $25 an hour to run the basic washes and interior details, while the owner focuses entirely on the coating, correction, and fleet work that pays. The owner keeps the spread on every job the hire completes. The real money in mobile detailing. Washing cars is the entry fee, not the business. Ceramic coating, paint correction, and recurring fleet accounts are where the margin lives. And almost none of the people quoting average income numbers are counting them. Alan Tursunbayev's story is worth returning to, because the details matter more than the headline number. He didn't start with coatings or fleet accounts. He started as a teenager washing cars for extra money between high school and college, with $500 in supplies. By 22, his business, Go Detail, was doing roughly $75,000 a month, running at around 60% gross profit, which works out to somewhere near $300,000 a year in net income. Revenue had grown 50% in just the 6 months before he was interviewed about it. He also runs a referral program, $10 off for every customer who sends someone new his way, which quietly builds the exact kind of customer pipeline that most operators never bother to systemize. That's not the whole picture, though. Established detailers in saturated markets have pushed back publicly against exactly this kind of story, arguing that social media showcases the outliers while most new entrants are walking into a crowded, price-sensitive market with none of Allen's 6 years of reputation behind them. Both things are true at once. The ceiling is real, so is the average. So let's run the 2 real, sourced outcomes for a typical ambitious operator, not the single best story in the country. The realistic case: 4 to 6 jobs a week, mostly a mix of full details around $200 and express washes around $50, with the occasional small upsell. Weekly revenue lands around $800 to $1,200, monthly around $3,200 to $4,800. After expenses, net profit settles around $2,800 to $4,200 a month, which works out to roughly $45 to $55 an hour of actual work. The optimistic case: 10 to 15 jobs a week, with the mix shifted hard towards ceramic coatings, paint correction, and at least one fleet account. Average job value climbs to $250 to $400 instead of a flat wash rate. Weekly revenue lands around $2,500 to $4,000. Monthly, $10,000 to $16,000. After expenses and taxes, net profit lands around $7,000 to $11,000 a month. Same industry, same starting equipment. The entire gap between those two outcomes comes down to whether the operator ever built the higher margin skills or stayed washing cars for $50 a job because that's what came easiest. So is it worth it? If you're picturing a quick weekend course and a fast path to six figures, that's not the honest version. The honest version takes real time to build the skills, the reputation, and the accounts that pay well. What is true is that this remains one of the lowest risk ways to test a service business on this entire channel. A few $1,000s, not a few $100,000, is enough to find out if you can actually do this. For someone willing to treat coatings and fleet accounts as the real goal from day one, not an eventual upgrade, this can genuinely become a strong income within a couple of years. For someone planning to wash cars at $50 a job indefinitely, the national average is already waiting, and it isn't the number anyone puts in a thumbnail. Remember this: nobody gets rich detailing cars. People get rich protecting them. The wash gets you in the driveway. The coating is the business.